You are listening to the Mohua show, where it's all about celebrating the Junoon among changemakers and their journey.
It's just not that I was a failure in school, I was called an idiot. Then finally they started throwing shoes at me. By the time I finished as commissioner at TDA, when I demolished 14,310 buildings of the most powerful people, 3 o'clock in the morning, knock knock at my door. My people said, sir, don't touch him. Tomorrow evening you will be dead. He will set you on fire. I said, let's see how big you are. You need to be continuously inspired.
At a time when everyone seems obsessed with overnight success and celebrity, why did you choose ordinary people?
The objective of me writing this book is to tell the world that whatever I have done, anybody can do better. I said, you can come and worship at the temple, but obviously it's my temple, my territory.
What does it take to rise from a village with no electricity to becoming one of India's most fearless bureaucrats? What does backbone mean in a world that celebrates shortcuts? And can failure actually be the best teacher you'll ever meet? In today's episode, we sit down with Mr. Alphonse Kanathanam, former IAS officer, politician, best-selling author, and a man whose journey defies every stereotype. From scoring 42% in school to crafting national policy, from taking on land mafias to redefining what it means to lead with integrity, Alphonse's story is not just one of grit. It's a roadmap for anyone who feels underestimated, overlooked, or ordinary. Today, we're going to talk about his latest book. The Winning Formula isn't about chasing perfection. It's about embracing your humanity and showing up with courage that is really rare in today's world. Welcome, Mr. Alphonse, in today's episode.
Thanks, Mohua. You have a nice day. It's a wonderful day here in Delhi. It's nice shower. Temperatures are come down dramatically. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful world with people like you.
Well,
Yes.
people like you make it so happy. Yeah.
Courage is not something that everyone has, Alphonse, so this is a very rare quality, to be able to stand up. So let's just start with something very personal. You've often spoken about your childhood in a electrified village in Kerala, and then the 42% marks that once defined you in school, when the world labeled you as a failure. What was the voice inside you saying, and where did that inner resilience come from? Because once you are labeled a failure, you start believing that for very, very long. So tell me, Alphonse, your journey.
Mahua, mine is a very funny journey. It's just not that I was a failure in school. I was called an idiot. When I was filling up the application form for my 10th board examination, there was no 12th board there. The headmaster said, ask your father to come. So when I went with my father to meet the headmaster, he said, sorry, this kid is just not going to get through. So he will bring a very bad reputation to the school. So let him repeat one more year. I said, I can't sit with my junior girls. It's suicidal. But he said, no. I said, no. Finally, what I did? I managed to sneak in my application form through the clerk, through the peon. Clerk was dealing with that. And I wrote the exams. And when the results came, the first miracle in my life happened. I passed with 42%. And mind you, today, in a lot of families, when a kid comes home with 499 out of 500, the parents ask, where is that 1 mark gone? I mean, my house, when I got 42%, it was big time celebrations, because I was not supposed to pass. So, I'm son of a school teacher with 9 children. My parents, let me say, are a little crazy like me. So they went to the orphanage, adopted 2 more children from the orphanage. We became 11. So we live I come from a middle class family, 5-acre farm, river flowing through. So we had great fun. And of course, study was the last thing on our mind. And we learned swimming, learned fishing, we had great fun, but study, never went in front of a classroom to participate in a competition. No, never got a prize. So this 42% was incredible for me. And then, of course, I sat by the river. They asked myself this question. Everybody says I'm useless. I thought for a long time, sitting by the river. And then I decided it's not my parents who's going to decide that I'm intelligent, not my friends, not my neighborhood, not my teachers, not my headmaster. I said, I am intelligent. I said, I never won a prize in anything, never participated, but I said, I have talents. And I said, I'm going to do this. So That's where the journey begins. Then, of course, I couldn't write one sentence in the English language when I passed school because I studied in a Malayalam medium school. So the dictionary became my best friend. Books became my best friends. I just actually devoured the dictionary, 25 pages a day. Not 25 words, 25 pages a day. How do you learn a word? Simple. Learn the meaning, then take a paper, make sentences with the words. Then I started reading books, try to replicate what was written, I would imitate a paragraph and, try to replicate Dickens and a whole lot of people like that, and started writing very decent language. And I said, and of course I started speaking English. Then I decided I want to be a speaker. I want to be an orator. I want to be a debater. So in college, after speaking to the wall for 6 months, that's what I did. I think if it's in your home, your mom would say, this girl is crazy, take you to the mental hospital, speaking to the wall. So I spoke to the wall for 6 months. Then I came to participate in the first debate in college. I was so pathetic that first they started howling 2,000 students. They started throwing papers. Then they started throwing books at me. I didn't stop. Then finally they started throwing shoes at me. By the time I finished, I had 250 shoes on the stage. See, I'm a Syrian Christian.
Yeah, they actually threw shoes?
Exactly. And I'm a Syrian Christian. I could have opened a shoe store. My community, everybody, they're all into business. I could have opened a shoe store. But I said, no, I want to be a debater. Went back to my room and I asked a lot of my friends, hey, will you help me? I want to be a debater. They said, no way, shoes. So they all kept away. So I spoke to the wall for many more months, practice, watch people debating. Then after a long time, came to speak on the stage and the miracle happened. No shoes thrown at me. That's a miracle. Then after a long time, many, many debates, I got no prizes. Then I got small, tiny prizes, became bigger. Eventually, I became the best national debater for 3 years. So getting shoes thrown at me, chucked at me, and 250 shoes chucked at me, I became the best national debater. Even though I'm pretty good. Yeah, watch my parliament speeches. I'm fire.
Amazing. Let's talk about your book. The winning formula isn't about being superhuman. It's about recognizing that being human is super. And that's something that, we need to keep reiterating considering the kind of times that we are in. So you've written a book that really focuses on ordinary people doing extraordinary things, something that's very close to my heart. At a time when everyone seems obsessed with overnight success and celebrity, why did you choose ordinary people? Does it have to do a little bit about the place you came from?
Yeah, this is my book, if I can cover it. So, The Winning Formula, 52 Ways to Change Your Life by Bloomsbury. And it's selling a lot of copies. Now, it's very simple. Why I wrote the book is to tell people that whatever I have done, anybody can do. Anybody can do that. That's the whole message. See, let me tell you the story again. So I decided I want to change the world with my life. In fact, that's the title of my first book, Making a Difference. So I looked around and said, which is the best job? And I found IAS as incredibly powerful because I saw district collectors, SPs and DCPs with incredible power to do things. I said, I want to get into the IAS. And why did I want to get into IAS? Not for the salutes, not for the guns. I said, I want to bring a smile on the face of people. That's the reason why I wrote the IAS exams. And of course, there's a whole chapter, how in 9 months, I became one of the toppers in the IAS. And I'm a student of economics. All my life, I've studied economics. I'm from the old system, 79 batch, where we had to do 3 optional subjects, 3 lower optionals, 2 higher options. So I didn't take economics because it was not scoring. So I took history, sociology, philosophy, subjects I never studied before, and history and sociology as higher options. I had 9 months, but I wrote in my diary, I am going to be a topper. Very presumptuous for a 42%, but that's the way I am. I have become, how did I do it? It's a whole chapter there. I think people should read it. I said, I'll study only 8 hours, not 15 hours. There's no point studying like a donkey. You just need to concentrate, put your heart and soul into what you're doing, 8 hours. And that 8 hours is absolute concentration on books. Of course, we were lucky there were no mobile phones those days. There was no television where I stayed. It was fantastic. And again, I've written 20 actual anecdotes from my life in this book, and 32 from the lives of other people. Ordinary people who done extraordinary work. You see, I adore the citizen, ordinary people. I'm not a huge admirer of celebrities. I'm very sorry. I'm not an admirer. Okay.
Why are
I'm
you
not.
sorry?
No.
Why are you
Yeah.
sorry?
Yeah. My heart is with the citizen, the voiceless person out there who needs help, who can't send his
You
kid
know,
to
and I
school.
relate to you, Alphonse, because you have to understand. I think it's also the political, it's also the political weather we've all come from. I'm a Bengali myself, and I don't know about you, but I grew up in a very left-leaning environment around me. Not that I am a leftist, but I grew up with that. And there, I think it was all about, it was in my blood about speaking for others. And that's exactly what I'm doing now, is giving space to unheard voices, giving space to people who've not, because that's what gives me tremendous amount of joy, where nothing has come to them on a platter. It has come with tremendous hard work. So for me, I completely understand. And yes, celebrities, who've had it easy, who've been, where things have been easier for them, is not what I look for actually on my podcast. We bring in change makers, and that I relate to what you're saying, Alphonse.
I understand. Like, Mahua, I never had a coffee in one of these cafe coffee day types. I mean, my heart would bleed if I have to have a coffee at 250 rupees. That can teach a child for a whole month. So I come from a completely different situation. It's not that I come from poverty or I did have, I think, a lot of what I had, I just given away because, money is good. Money has a lot of good uses. In fact, I am a liberal capitalist in the sense of I want anybody who has money to be able to create jobs and create wealth. But on the other hand,
Absolutely.
but on the other hand, anybody who cannot help themselves, I think the government and we, the people who are privileged, we have the responsibility to help them. So on the one
Agree.
hand, I'm a liberal capitalist. On the other hand, I'm a complete propose to a citizen-friendly person. So I think that helps. So I have no conflict in these two things. And all my life, Mahua, I tried to do that because when I got to IAS, for most people, when they get to the IAS Academy, I studied IAS only for 9 months. I topped the written examinations, but my interview, I completely messed up because I was so overconfident. I spoke against, because it was a Janata rule where there was prohibition. I spoke against prohibition. I spoke against India's foreign policy. I thought I did a fantastic interview with the UPSC, but then when the results came, I got only 50% because I spoke all against the government. It's a lesson again, how not to do an interview. You just got to speak a different language. You can always say, this is what somebody thinks, instead of me saying, this is my view. So I got only 50%. So eventually I came to the 8th rank from being a topper. So once I got in there, I said, for most people, getting into Masuri Academy is the ultimate dream. They stop listening to people. They don't read anymore. They think there are such inflated egos of bureaucracy. I said, sorry, this is where my life begins. I'm going to be the voice there. I'm going to smile. I'm going to meet everybody. I'm going to listen to everybody. And I'm going to put a smile on the face of every person who comes and meets me. I mean, it's been 45 years. I think it's been a great journey because I'm completely open to the citizen. It's not that I don't do the rich man's work. I do the rich man's work. Yes, it will be done. It will be done on time. But the poor, who 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 is voiceless, who has no voice, who's no influence, his work would done first. I mean, that's my simple theories. And of course, it's been lots of hard work. Yeah, lots of hard work.
Amazing. So one of your most powerful line is the greatest equipment in life is not your heart or brain, but your backbone. It's such a wonderful line. So can you share a time when your backbone was tested, Alphonse? And that helped you stay upright in spite of the storm.
Yeah, I'll possibly tell you 3 stories from my life. One, this was my first job as sub-collector Munnar. It was called Devikulam. Everybody knows Munnar. So I was just 27. And there was this temple at Tekadi, that's on the Tamil Nadu border. And on top of the hill, and one day I hear that MGR, the demigod chief minister of Tamil Nadu, he says that temple is dedicated to a Tamil goddess, and therefore it should belong to Tamil Nadu. I'll come and take over. I said, you can come and worship in the temple, but obviously it's my temple, my territory. They made a helipad on the other side. They declared the time, 11 o'clock, when he would land there, and then he would take over the temple. I did speak to my collector. There was no telephone call from my place to the district headquarters. If you booked a call, you would get it after a month. So I went there. I declared 144. I said, sorry. And I had 2,000 policemen camping there. I said, if FGR comes this side and takes over my table, tries to do it, I will arrest. So we are all waiting at 11 o'clock. MGR backed up. 27-year-old, I knew I can take on anybody. That was the beginning of standing up my backbone. As Commissioner, Delhi Development Authority, I was the first South Indian to be posted as Commissioner, Delhi Development Authority. And everybody said, oh, this Madrasi, that's what they call us here. I have no problems. They call us anything. He doesn't know Hindi. He has no political influence. He can't do anything. I said, let me see. I made a list of people. DDI has over 100,000 acres of land in Delhi. I made a survey of the land and I found a good percentage of my land was encroached. And who are the top encroachers? Top 10 were politicians, the most powerful politicians in Delhi. And number one on that list was the biggest political mafia leader of Delhi, H.K. Bhagat, the man who was the brain behind the 1984, genocide of Sikhs after Indira Gandhi's assassination. And
Yes.
I said, he is my target. And guess what was the size of the building? 2 lakh square feet. So I told my people, we are 36,000 employees on the DDI. I said, he's number one. We're going to demolish him. My people said, sir, don't touch him. Tomorrow evening, you will be dead. He will set you on fire. I said, let's see. So my next step is preparation. I just don't jump at things. If I go there with 10 policemen, 100 policemen, one bulldozer, we're going to get beaten up. So everything that I do involves massive preparation. And so 10,000 policemen on trucks with guns, open trucks, 25 massive bulldozers. In front of that, me and my 4 feet tall Great Dane Spaniel, me not like this, my Stetson Clint Eastwood hat, my gun on my lap, my boots, and I come in an open jeep with my dog at 5 o'clock in the morning to Modern Town. And people started running. They thought some Pakistani invaded India. I said, relax, cool. Over the next 36 hours, I stood on that street and we reduced this 2 lakh square feet into dust. Next day, in all the newspapers, television, the demolition man comes to Delhi. And of course, me and my dog. Over the next 5 years, we knocked on 40,310 illegal mansions in Delhi. I don't demolish the poor, belonging to the most powerful people. Of course, I carried a gun for 8 years. My wife went to the market under police protection. My kids went to school under police protection, went to play cricket under police protection. My wife got beaten up, left dead. She survived. My kids got beaten up. I was on the street for 5 years every day. I just don't write things on the file. I'm there with my people. And they became so powerful, an incredible bunch of people. DDA, everybody says he's evil, he's corrupt, but here was the entire DDA out on the street doing a fantastic job. So in 1994, I was on Time Magazine's cover story, as you know, 100 young global leaders, 2 of us from India, Mukesh Ambani and I. Maybe they may have chosen the richest man and the poorest man. So, so we had Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Jeffrey Sachs in this list. But it's funny. So when I came to Delhi, everybody said, this is Madrasi. Exactly 2 years later, in 1994, when Times of India did a survey on me, I got 89.6% of Delhi people supporting me. Look at that. This country is incredible. No caste, no creed. If you do a good job, here are people who need to accept. So backbone for 5 years, demonstration. I'll tell you one more story. I went to Bihar in 2004 as the chief observer for the general elections in 2004. And I'm sent to the most notorious constituency in the country, Madhepura, Lalu Prasad Yadav's constituency, Sharad Yadav's. So I go there. I have 4 other observers with me. And evening, we go for a walk. And down 1 kilometer down the line, we see a lady standing in a jeep and about 500 people around campaigning at the elections. I go nearby and I have this eagle's eye, I notice the vehicle on which she's standing doesn't have a registration, the jeep. Yeah. So I said, stop. KJ Alphonse from the Election Commission. You are campaigning from a vehicle which has no permission, and so I'm taking the vehicle into custody. She says, I'm the chief minister. I said, I know you are the chief minister. I called the collector and the SP. I said, please come with the large police force. They said, sir, should we? I said, of course you should. Sir, she's the chief minister. I said, I know exactly she's the chief minister. They came and Rabri Devi refused to get out of the vehicle. We said, okay, we will tow the vehicle. So we towed the vehicle to the SP's office, 500 followers shouting slogans. Reached SP's office, parked the car there. She says, I won't get out. We served her tea and biscuits and all that. And all the people kept shouting slogans. After 2 hours, she got bored and she left. 3 o'clock in the morning, knock, knock on my door. Lalu Prasad Yadav. Generally you expect them to shout at you. Don't you know who I am? No, he is very clever. So he said, Alphonse, what you done is very good. My people would not create any problem this time. Next day, Sharad Yadav also came, said, my people would not create any problem. So, and I told my fellow observers, let's go to the villages and tell people this time you can vote. And elections happened a month and a half later. Not even a dog barked in Madhepura. Can you imagine? And Lalu won the election, 69,000 something. And then he connects me to Rabri Devi and Rabri Devi says, Alphonse, you did a great job. Come and have a meal with me. I said, you're 10 hours drive from here. It's too far away. So the point is, even an irrelevant observer of the election commission can dramatically change things. So when bureaucrats say, no, because of political influence, we can't do it. Because of system failure, we can't do it. I think it's such a fake story, such a fake narrative. We can do everything we want. I never had a call as commissioner at DDA when I demolished 14,310 buildings of the most powerful people, and mostly congressmen who were ruling Delhi. Government of India was Congress. The Delhi government was Congress. Nobody ever called me. So if you do a good job, nobody interferes, of course. What can they do to you? Transfer you? So what? So what can happen? Nothing. So I want bureaucrats to read my book and say, yes, we can do it. I want every Indian to say, yes, backbone is the most important equipment in my body. See, I don't consider myself, Mohua, to be very brainy or incredibly capable. No, I am a man with ordinary intelligence. But I just decide to do things. I just decide that God has given you a backbone. The least you can do is stand up.
Absolutely. What is that one trait that remains common, and connects all change makers? Considering that you've had, in your book, you've highlighted 52 stories. Would there be, one trait that you would say is common?
Yeah, it's a belief that we are in this world to make a difference. That I must make the change. It doesn't really matter. I'm in the IAS. The other 32 people I've spoken about, absolutely ordinary people, a police constable, an ordinary doctor, a peon in a medical college. It's just amazing. A blind girl who speaks 13 languages.
Wow.
And a girl who's on a stretcher getting into the civil service from a remote village in Wayanad. Each of these stories is so incredible about people who say, wow, I need to get up and I need to walk and I must make that difference. Let me tell you that one big story. This Pew Thomas, about whom I've written a chapter. He was a peon in Kottayam Medical College, and I was a chairman of the medical college committee because as district collector, I was a chairman. And this guy was just a peon there. For the past 45 years, he's been feeding 7,500 people in 5 hospitals, including the medical college, with breakfast, with the lunch, with dinner. And he has a home where there are 100 people who are all paralyzed. Just a peon in a medical college for 45 years. Imagine the incredible determination of that man to do that every day, morning till night, and his whole family is with him. A police constable from Kerala, breastfeeding a kid from Jharkhand without asking what caste, what creed, what religion. This is India. It's just amazing. So 18-year-old Fatima, born blind. She speaks 13 languages. She wants to get into the foreign service. I'm sure she will, because she won the award she won the Barika Puraskar Award, national, for amazing work. I can narrate to tell you a whole lot of stories of incredible people, ordinary people. So For those who think, oh my God, Alphonse can do all this, Mohua can do this because they have power. Sorry, no, anybody can do. There's also a story of this guy, Payam in Assam. He's an uneducated guy who lives on an island, and the entire island got completely wiped out, and all the trees, vegetation, everything gone. He reforested that entire island. Mr. Menon and Mr. Nair in Gujarat from Kerala. He's created multiple forests in Gujarat, in the desert areas. So there are stories of people, and also Sri Ram, about who Prime Minister had spoken. He supplied over a 100,000 mud pots. He says, keep it on your window, pour a little water, and the birds will come and have it. They will not die of dehydration. Everybody, including a 5-year-old kid, can't she do it? Pour some little water into that little mud pot. This is a story of, extraordinary realization that you don't have to have any extraordinary job as an ordinary human being, even just in your own village. You could do incredible work.
Absolutely amazing. In your stories, yours and others, failure isn't just a detour. It's really the actual path. And I'm a huge believer of that too. So how do you define failure now, and what should, young people do when they feel like they've really messed up? Because we hear of so many really sad cases, when they've not done well in their exams, and then, they take their lives. And I think your message would be very important, for our listeners.
Mohua, we are not gods. We are human beings. When you do 100 things, you will fail at least in 10. So it is natural, normal. We are not gods at all. So realize we are human beings with our limitations. We can fail. We can fail bad. And that is when I think we just need to tell ourselves, look here, I need to rise up. Nobody else is going to do what I'm planning to do. Yeah, and then whenever anybody feels down, read my book. It's a story of continuous resurrection from people who have failed. Who doesn't fail? Somebody who doesn't do anything, isn't it? What does it really matter? Yeah. But I would advise people, learn from somebody else's failure. You don't necessarily have to fail and glorify failure. See, frankly, I don't glorify failure. I believe if you really try very hard, put your heart and mind into it. Now, today it's extremely difficult because, something like this is the biggest enemy of humankind, of young people.
Yes.
Your mobile, telling you untruth, telling you all kinds of fake stories. People don't read anymore. They don't talk to people anymore. They don't make friends. They don't talk to their parents. They don't really have good friends. Come on, the net is an amazing instrument. Most of the research for my parliament speeches and everything came from net. I would access the net myself. So net is fantastic. Look for what you are, if you search for what you want. But if you're going to be on WhatsApp, and believe everything that comes in there, most of which is fake. So you will fail. You're bound to fail. If you're going to sit down and study, and every 10 seconds you're sending a message to your girlfriend or your boyfriend and waiting for that stupid response, or if you're posting your selfie on the social media and looking for likes, don't look for endorsement. You are great by yourself the way you are. Like, I was possibly the ugliest IAS probation in Missouri Academy, but I was president of the academy. Everywhere I go, I'm the leader. I'm nobody in the world, including my wife, has never told me I look handsome. I'm perfectly fine. Why the hell do we need endorsement, approval? If you post and you get 100 likes and your friend gets 200 likes, you are depressed. You want to take your life. Oh, I'm not good enough. And you try to do crazy things. Come on, I think look good. Yeah, I don't buy new clothes, but I'm always, when I'm in a formal function, I'm always very well elegantly dressed. You can look good with whatever you are and look confident and march like a wild elephant in the new situations. So if you plan out properly, like I did for my ACE exams, for my demolitions, for everything that I do, you don't need to fail too many times, but still you will fail. Then just sit down, read something, talk to your parents, have a good friend. Yeah, say, look here, I'm not feeling good. What do you think? And if you need professional help, there are plenty of counselors.
Yes,
Take
there
their
are.
help. Yes, if your friend can't sort out, but always have a good friend, at least one person with who is sensible, who is not stupid, who is not on WhatsApp and social media all the time, who knows you, understands your soul, and talk to that person. Talk to your parents. See, according to me, today the biggest enemy of a child is the parent and the teacher telling you that you need to beat everybody else in school. You gotta be a topper, beating everybody else, rank holder from nursery class. It's so stupid. I mean, they want just to beat somebody else and telling you all the time that you're useless, that you're wrong. The biggest enemy of a child is a parent. Number two, the biggest enemy of a child is a teacher. In school, the moment you are in LKG, telling you this kid is a genius, this kid is outstanding, this kid is
Yes.
average, stupid. Now, we just need the child really to become parents, become the best friend of the child, of your children. And teachers become friends of the children, telling them that they are good, that they are capable. Push them. Doesn't really matter if they fall. They will fail. Don't classify them as genius. My son who was kicked out from a school, there's a story in my book in the chapter, Don't Be Photocopies. My son was kicked out of school when he was in class 3. At exactly 3 years later, he had his first painting exhibition, all paintings sold in 1 hour. And every newspaper carried the story, a genius is born. He became a taxpayer at 11. And a school had dismissed him, saying he's not good enough when he was exactly 3 years earlier. He had a global exhibition when he was 14, Delhi, London, New York, Washington, inaugurated by the president. Now, point is, it's for parents and teachers and society to recognize and say, hey, kid, you can do it. You have it in you. Tell them they are good. Yes, if they make a mistake, don't be reluctant to tell them that this is not the right path. Yes, you don't have to beat them up, but have a conversation. How many parents, frankly, have a conversation with their children every day? How many families have dinner together and talk
Yeah.
about their friends and school and their girlfriends and boys? These are all issues they should talk to their
Yeah.
parents.
Yes.
Parents don't find the time because the parents are on this stupid mobile and social media all the time.
So, if you had a chance and you would reimagine a classroom, and you had a clean slate, what is it that you would do to foster original thinking?
Yeah, I would tell kids, look here, don't believe what somebody else says. This is not possible. This is impossible. Anytime anybody said in my IAS or after that this is impossible, I would always raise my hand and say, sorry, I will do it. Give me the dirtiest job. So tell kids. I mean, I was member of the drafting committee of the new education policy and EP. And the key thing in that one message is let the child dream for himself. Let her dream for herself, not the parents' dream. And the child discovering truth by himself, by herself. I mean, these are the key things. I would love to be. I go and speak in schools. I've spoken to something like 2 million students, mainly in schools, because that's a formative age when I can really get those kids to dream for themselves. Tell them, hey, you can do it. Have a dream. Share the dream with other people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you another story. This is when I was commissioner for entrance examination. Engineering medical entrance examination. 2000, 2001, I was a commissioner. Generally, it takes 3 months for the NEET examination results to be declared. I go to the same office, same people, 24 people, same computers, same scanners. Instead of 3 months, you know how many days we took to declare the results? 7 days. The postgraduate medical examination results were declared on the second day. And the super specialty medical entrance examination results were declared on the same day. Exam in the morning, results in the afternoon. Same people. What did I bring into that office? A dream. I brought a dream saying, let's be the best. I share that dream with other people, with my employees. It becomes a collective dream. And then we all work very hard. And let me tell you, Mohua, there are no shortcuts. There are people debating we should have a 3-day week, 4-day week. I work extremely hard because I have so many things to do in my life. Yes, I celebrate. Even when I was doing IAS exams, I would go meet friends, go to a movie, go to a disco dance. Even when I was commissioner at DTA, being on the street, me and my wife and my gang, we would go to a disco dance I listen to music every day. It's not that I don't have fun. I have great fun. Yeah, I have great fun. So combine all these things together and tell our kids at home and wherever we are, hey kid, you are great. You can just do it.
So, you've written 3 books and you've been part of major literature festivals, So, what challenges do you see in the Indian publishing industry today, especially with declining reading habits, as we just spoke about, that most people are on the social media and reading has become lesser. So, what would you say to that?
See, Mahua, I think people don't buy books anymore. They don't read books anymore. It's very sad because whatever I am, it's because of books. Because I devoured books from the time I was 15 years to 20 years. I still read a lot. Every day before I go to bed, even though I'm a motivational speaker and a writer, I still read somebody else's book. At least a few pages. A lot of which is motivational because I need to keep motivating myself. You need a fuel. However big you are, you need to be continuously inspired. So people
Yeah,
don't read it.
absolutely.
I think publishing is in a bad shape. I mean, a book like this, it can completely change lives, completely change the country. I mean, Prime Minister is talking about making India a Viksit Bharat by 2047. But unless every Indian is willing to dream with the Prime Minister, you think it's going to happen? It won't happen. So this book is an attempt to really put a dream into every India. See, a lot of my friends in Delhi, they say, you've written a great book. I keep asking them, did you buy the book? No, we will buy. Did you read those who bought my book? Did you read my book? No, I'll read. At my book release, when Minister Jitendra Singh released the book at IIC, he asked me, is it a rock festival or is it a book release? Because, so many people had turned up. There was no parking anywhere. Most people couldn't get into the auditorium. The whole idea that somebody else can say something different, that they can think of doing the impossible in the normal thing. No, we don't want to hear that. I really think about what people should start reading. Read from my book, and there are many other books which are fantastic. Read them. I think this is a fuel for the human soul. Each of us are going to live for a few years here on the face of the earth. So much of happiness we can spread on the face of the earth. So much. The world is in a horrible shape. War, we just kill each other. There is so much of joy we can bring into the whole world. And this book and books like that actually help you to do that.
So finally, for someone, listening to this podcast who feels ordinary and defeated, what's that one message from the winning formula you hope that they would take to heart?
Yeah, Mahua, I think it's this very simple thinking from wherever you come, remotest village, anywhere. Just believe God is created in me, be very special if you are a believer. I'm very special. I'm unique. Today I was reading in the newspaper, so many girls from a remote village I think in Bihar or somewhere. All the girls from that class passed a NEET examination. They are going to a medical school from a remote part of the country. I said, it's fantastic. So nobody stops you from dreaming. Even if I come from non-electrified village, studied under the kerosene lamp, so nobody can stop you from dreaming. And there are plenty of stories, apart from what I have written in my book, of millions of people who do an incredible job, and look at what you're trying to do. Mahua, you are in a comfortable position, but you are trying to spread happiness by getting people to read, to listen to new ideas and telling people, look here, hey, maybe this book can change your life. And I really think anybody who reads my book will really dramatically change. Whoever they are, doesn't really matter who they are. It will dramatically change the way they look at life. Not because I'm brainy, not because I'm a genius, not because I believe that each of us need to make the world much, much happier. And we can do that in so many ways, in big ways, in small ways, so many ways.
Thank you so much for taking out the time and being in today's episode. And in a time of noise, KJ Alphons reminds us that clarity comes from character, not charisma. If you're walking through a storm, doubting your path, or simply tired of comparing your life to curated success stories, remember this: you don't need superpowers to lead an extraordinary life, just a backbone. If this conversation moved you, share it with somebody who needs to hear this as a reminder today. And don't forget to check out The Winning Formula. It might just be the book that gets you back on your feet. It did that for me. Subscribe, leave us a review, and follow for more stories and more voices who are rewriting the rules with truth, heart, and tremendous courage. We're extremely honored to have with us today KJ Alphonse. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Mohua. That was a great conversation. And keep spreading happiness and joy and a smile. Thank you.